Deputy Chairman of Committees, for the opportunity to speak a few words at this very important debate when the Honorable Minister of Justice has presented to the House amendments to the Code of Criminal Procedure Act and to the Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman or Degrading Treatment or Punishment Act, and certain orders for approval. I must thank the Honourable Minister for remaining in the House after presenting these bills and listening to the various comments that are being made on this matter. The matters that have been placed before the House are very, very important and serious in nature. What we see in the amending act, in both the amending bills, we welcome, because it seeks to make it obligatory on magistrates to visit police stations, and if I heard the Honourable Minister right, not just the police stations but also other detention centres, and examine and see whether the detainees are properly treated, particularly with a view to ensuring that there is no torture or other cruel, inhuman or degrading treatment meted out to them. So, on paper, it's a good move. But one wonders why this window dressing is being made now. If any of us who are aware of the actual situation with regard to torture in this country would wonder why this amendment is being placed today. So much for shouting from the rooftops that we are protecting our sovereignty, we are not bowing down to international pressure and all of that. But all of these facades are being built, and I don't know who you are trying to fool. The Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman, Degrading Treatment or Punishment Act was passed in 1994. And we have various researches that have been made with regard to the efficacy of this act. 26 years of this act has seen just 9 convictions, 6 of which are under appeal. Very recent research publication by Law and Society Trust says that there were only 47 prosecutions. Only 47 prosecutions. Less than 0.1 of the complaints that are made. And one knows that even the complaints are only about 10-20% of the actual happenings. For various fears of reprisals, of further mistreatment, of family members being put in jeopardy, all of those, and only about 10-20% actually make the complaint. And I just worked out the figures. This act in operation has been a dismal failure. The calculation, a very generous calculation, will show that only 0.06% of the complaints result in any conviction. Now, how is that to be compared with Article 11 of the Constitution? Article 11 of the Constitution and Article 10 of the Constitution are two provisions that can't be abridged, that can't be restricted. Not by law, not by anything. But we have a situation in this country, time and again, we have judgments from the Supreme Court finding police officers guilty of torture. There are judgments written. Honorable Minister of Justice, being a lawyer, knows that very well. Every volume, every single volume of law reports have judgments of the Supreme Court finding police officers guilty of the most inhuman methods of torture. But they are not brought before court. You have this act to show people around the world that torture is an offense. Today you are even enhancing the fine. What for? You don't prosecute them. Why did you waste this paper? Put it before Parliament. You don't prosecute them. This is to show others. That's why I called it a window dressing. Already, over 100 years, the prison ordinance requires the magistrates to visit the prisons. Do they do that? When did the last time a magistrate visited a prison? I'm asking this question from the Honourable Minister because you may put it here, making it obligatory, that's salutary. How are you going to enforce this? How are you going to enforce a magistrate to visit police stations and other detention centers? Is there a mechanism here to do that? No. There's no mechanism. You already have for 100 years. I have known one or two magistrates, conscientious, have gone and visited prisons, but they don't do monthly, they must do that. They don't do that. And everyone knows that. No mechanism to enforce that. But even if you have a mechanism to enforce that, if the magistrates are not conscientious enough to do what the law has required them to do, can you by force have them do that? No, you can't. Once a special rapporteur of the UN on torture, remember his name very well, Manfred Novak, came and visited places of detention. He was an expert in the field. You must read his report. I think that report came about 15 or 20 years ago, but still valid because he visited a particular place. Then later in the afternoon, he visited the place again. And he found people who were there, not there in the morning, they are in the afternoon. He put it all down because those who had been tortured had been taken away and hidden when he went there announced. So he went unannounced in the afternoon and found them. All of those facts are there. Later there is another rapporteur, Mendes, who's given another statement, a report. You allow them to come to this country because you want to show the world that you're open, right? There is no torture. Sri Lanka is one of the worst countries for torture by the police machine. I'm happy that the Minister of Public Security is also here now. We are one of the worst countries. You can say this, you can present this. I heard the minister say, buildings, the hardware, the laws that you have passed is software. And he thinks that that is complete. But where is the delivery? You have made the computer, you have programmed it, but doesn't work. It doesn't work. Even the power doesn't come on in your hardware and your software computer. Right? It's broke. The system, insofar as torture is concerned, your system is broke and you can't fix it by passing these laws. Now, one word about Prevention of Terrorism Act. Torture in this country became an epidemic because of the provision in the PTA that enabled, that allowed confessions made to police officers as admissible evidence. That's how torture became endemic. That's how police officers lost their ability to investigate offences. They no longer had to investigate offences. That skill disappeared long ago. All you had to do was beat up a fellow, or do worse, get his signature. You solve the crime. I have demonstrated, I don't want to repeat this, I have given stories after stories after stories where crimes are supposed to have been solved because you have a confession. You convict the wrong person. But what is dangerous in that is that the real culprit is still roaming free, is still there out on the street. That is what is dangerous about this. If you are only concerned about national security, you say, your national security is gone. Because the one who actually committed the crime is out there. And you have got somebody else, got a confession, and put him behind bars. So even from that point of view, not just from the human rights point of view, not from the human dignity point of view, even from your avowed national security point of view, it's a dismal failure. The European Union has passed a resolution that they're withdrawing GSP+. Why? Because in 2017, a guarantee was given by the then government that they will repeal the PTA and replace it with another law that is compliant with international human rights standards. Some effort was made. When they came up with the CTA, I was the first person to publicly announce that this is worse than the PTA. Subsequently, it came to various parliament committees. EU representatives also came to see whether it was compliant. And we worked on it, and various amendments were brought in. It wasn't perfect, but it was 100 times better than the PTA that you have. It was 100 times better, I repeat, it's 100 times better than the PTA that are still on our statute books. But it wasn't passed, unfortunately, because several of our civil society people thought we must only have a perfect law. And so we now have the PTA, because we couldn't have the perfect law. There were shortcomings in that, but it was far better. Honorable Lakshman Kiriyala mentions certain matters. Confessions cannot be admissible. In our country, in this culture, confessions made to a police officer cannot be admissible. Preventive detention cannot be permitted except for a very short period of time and with judicial supervision. There are numerous issues with regard to the PTA. Honorable Minister, I can tell you very responsibly, you can't amend the PTA. You have to repeal the PTA. The whole basis, the foundation of that law is flawed. I have said this several times. It was brought just for 6 months. It still bears that name, Temporary Provisions Act, brought in 1979. You have to repeal it. We also agree that all the countries in the world have laws to deal with terrorism. We don't say no to that. We don't say no to that. But that must be done without, I agree with you, there has to be a balance. Right? But that balance has to be struck properly. You can't have Article 11 in our Constitution and then allow even one person to be tortured. I agree with you on that. It's not the numbers. But you did speak about numbers, about the disappeared. And I heard you say that people are making allegations that thousands of people have gone missing. People are not making allegations. Your own government appointed commissions have said so. Leave aside what we say. Your own commission, Paranagama Commission, says more than 20,000 people. What have you got to say about that? Your own commission, Udalagama Commission, says, with regard to just the two matters that they inquired into, the 17 aid workers in Mudur and the 5 students in Trincomalee.
Honourable Member, you have 2 more minutes.
How many?
2 more minutes.
Thank you. They have said that. Your own commission, all these 3 commissions, LLRC, all those 3 commissions are appointed by President Mahinda Rajapaksa, has said that persons who were surrendered to the security forces at the end of the war have gone missing. They've given the number 3,000 odd. They have given the number. Your own commission. We had nothing to do with those commissions. When your own commissions have said tens of thousands of people have gone missing and not one has been traced so far, not one has been prosecuted for that, what's the point in saying people are saying? You have said it. You have admitted to it. Why can't you investigate one case? 11 young people were abducted by personnel of the Navy in Colombo, not because they were involved in anything, but for ransom. Senior naval officers were involved in that. You interfere in that. You go after investigative officers in that case. You waylay that case, and then you preach sanctimoniously here that this government will protect the dignity of everyone. How do you make these ends meet then? If you are sincere, and I'm saying,
Honourable Member, please wind up.
You are not sincere. This is just window dressing for the European Union. And it's too late. And I want the European Union and the entire world to know that this is just eyewash. A very weak and feeble attempt by this government to try to show that you are human rights, international human rights compliant. That will not work. Unless you make a genuine turn, you will not succeed in this false effort of yours. Thank you.
Thank you.